Hello everybody, welcome back to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, bringing a very special video, and today I'm going to be doing a episode ranking for Andor, both seasons 1 and 2. Of course, the incredible series has now finished. We have been covering it across the last month on the channel. We've done predictions, we've done spoiler discussions, we've had some amazing guests come on, we've revisited Rogue One in a sequel to a 3-year-old video almost at this point in time, and we're going to kind of politely round out the Andor footage for now with a ranking. And I'm going to be looking at the episode arcs from across both seasons. So this isn't just me talking season 2, sorry. This isn't me going through 24 individual episodes. I have done my best to collate the arcs together, and I'm going to be ranking them from 8 down to 1. Now, before I do start the ranking, I will go over each of those because I have to sort of do an explanation on one of the season 1 episodes that isn't included. So I will be getting to that, but I've got to say before I kickstart this, I do want to hear people's thoughts on Andor. I don't want this discussion to end. We're very lucky we're not a Star Wars channel because right now there'd be a lot of Battlefront 2 things happening. So if you're a fan of games, yes, I'm very aware, and we are all playing Battlefront 2. Hopefully we get some good news down the line. And wouldn't it be amazing to get some Andor stuff on there too? That'd be a great discussion. I hope a Star Wars podcast is doing that. But that being said, I want to hear people's thoughts. I want to hear their ranking, their favourite episodes, their favourite stories, whether they agree with me, whether they disagree with me, other things they're looking forward to. We don't do too many ranking videos. I know some channels are really good at them. We've done tier lists before. We've done humongous top 10s. And it's nice to do something a little bit different with TV, looking at Andor as a completed series. And a massive asterisk, I'm not including Rogue One in this because although we call it the season finale, of course it is a film. It would be very unfair to compare it to the rest of the others. So I'm going to do my absolute best to go through these. I've got my laptop here, so if I'm glancing down, it's because I'm reading a couple of things which I need to do. I don't want to embarrass myself on this one. If I talk about the structures and what I'm calling each of these, the first group of episodes, and this isn't a ranking, this is me going through the episodes I'm counting for this because season 1's a little bit different to season 2. The first 3 episodes of season 1, I'm calling it the Ferrix introduction. Episodes 4 to 6 of season 1 is the Aldani arc. Now, I'm not including episode 7 because episode 7's a weird ladder in between 6 and 9. So I'm in a really weird vibe with that. So I'm not including episode 7. I'm including episodes 8 to 10, obviously Narkina 5, and season 1, episodes 11 and 12, I'm just calling it Ferrix, which is obviously the 2-part finale. Season 2, quite simple. First 2 episodes, we've got the wedding. Next 2 episodes, we've got I'm calling it the Gorman introduction, episodes 4 to 6, 7 to 9, the Gorman massacre, and episodes 10 to 12, I'm calling it Rogue -1 for a clever but stupid Godzilla -1 reference whilst referencing Rogue One. So I was very proud of myself when I came up with that. I don't know what people are calling that arc. Are they calling it the finale? Are they calling it the Rogue One arc? But it's not Rogue One, the Rogue One prequel. Like, I don't know. Star Wars episode 3.98 maybe? Who knows? But I'm excited to do this. I'm not going to go in massively long, but I am going to say, unfortunately, there are some episodes that are at the bottom. Because it's a ranking video, someone has to be there. This is one of my genuine favourite shows of all time, and I know the second season's only just aired. There are episodes I've watched in this which I can compare to some of the best shows I've ever seen, and I might talk about that in a little bit of detail later on. But let's really get into this. So, counting down from my 8th favourite or best arc through to number 1, I've not got an asterisk, this is the best episodes, these are my favourite episodes. I'm just doing a correlation, how I responded to them, how I enjoyed them, the quality of them, so that it might be a little bit different to some. And that's the great thing with ranking videos, is that everyone is going to be different. So if I kickstart where I'm going with this, in 8th place, I've got season 2, episodes 1 to 3, which is the wedding arc. Of course, it's the return to the series after obviously a 2.5-year gap of it being broadcast. We're getting the introduction to maybe what the story of the season's going to be, with Krennic putting together the Gorma Disney package, I like to call it, when we got the tourist stuff, and we get to lay the seeds of what the series is going to be about, the meaning of the Gorman people following season 1. On top of that, we obviously get the wedding with Mothma's daughter, everything going on with Take Hava, bringing Luthen into the realm, Andor on Yavin without us knowing. It's a very good set of episodes, and it's exactly what season 2 needed to bring us back into the fold, to reintroduce us to characters and propel them on their journey to move forward. So I have got it in 8th. And in 7th place, I've got the Gorman introduction. So following on from 1 to 3 of season 2, I've got episodes 4 to 6. And this one's really tricky to talk about because when I look at Gilroy, I look at it as 6 episodes, but that would be unfair to classify it as 6. We have obviously the 3 episodes introducing it. We go 1 year later, we see the setup, we see the Empire starting to play their hand in there. We've got Cyril working undercover. Alongside this, we've got everything going on with Bix and Cass as well. So it's a great continuation of where we go with those first 3, but it is very heavy in... I'm not using the word setup, that's disrespectful, but these 3 episodes are enhanced by episodes 7 to 9, I guess we can say. But as a standalone, I don't think they have that arc structure that you could watch. Like, if you're ever going to watch it as a film, you could watch like Narkina with somebody, you could watch even The Wedding ranking, I've put it 8th. This one doesn't flow as well by itself as a standalone. Obviously, it's part of a 12-episode series. That's hypocritical for me to say, but looking at it as story arcs, it doesn't hit the levels because we know what obviously follows that does hit those levels. In 6th place, I've got the Ferrix Introduction, Season 1, Episodes 1 to 3, the first 3 episodes of the show. Now, I think these episodes are terrific. I have a lot of fun with these. I think we didn't know at that point how great that show was going to be, and it was 3 solid episodes, but the foundation that sets for Andor to build off to become the show that we all love is remarkable. And when you revisit that, seeing the beginning of the journeys of so many of these characters, I think is really welcoming. I think if you're re-binging Season 1 at all, they are very strong, but it is the quality of the show that it gets better and better and better. Every story arc, every structure, and without that great opening 3 episodes from Season 1, the finale isn't going to hit as hard. And that's kind of where I segue me into the 5th on my list, which is the 2-part finale for Season 1, Ferrix, episodes 11 and 12. Oh my word. We're going to talk about music a lot and the impact that's had on Andor, but the funeral for Marva, how that was constructed with the theme, the opening of the episode, the music involved Nicholas Britell, bringing in all these characters we've met across the season so far in multiple different story arcs, bringing Cassian back, putting Dedra and Cyril together on Ferrix as well. We've got Bix in the who's been obviously took by the Empire. We've had the passing of Martha. These 2 episodes are so good, and I actually think they're a bit underrated. I don't really think that many people talk about the finale. When most people were talking about Season 1, they were talking about Narkina, and very understandably so. But I think the emotional impact of going back to that finale is really special, and it is that moment. And now we can look at with Season 2 done and dusted, you get Will, who's getting this much heavier role within these episodes, and it's about everyone coming together. It so perfectly rounds off the series, and like Gorma, it's Tony Gilroy utilising his budgets. He's saying, well, I've spent so much of my money building this incredible set, basically, the city itself of Ferrix. Of course they're going to set loads of episodes there as much as they can. So I've got in 5th place, yes, Ferrix Season 1, Episodes 11 and 12. In 4th place, this might be controversial, I've got Rogue -1, Season 2, Episodes 10 to 12. Listen, these are 3 amazing episodes. And it's a bit unfair to also say Rogue -1, because it does obviously end as Rogue One begins. We've got Cassian going to the Rings of Kafrene. We've got all these great things coming in, but to have the character development we get in episode 10 for Claire, for Luthen, to round out not his story arc, but his character. And then we get the sort of the leftovers of that with Claire after he died, not wanting to go to Yavin. We've got K2 working with Melshi and Cassian together in getting her out of Yavin as well. We've got all the politics leading into Rogue One. We've got senators returning. We've got stuff going on with the Death Star with Krennic setting up. It is the perfect way to set you up for Rogue One, and it is absolutely how this series should have ended. But the real season finale feels like episode 9, which is a slightly different conversation for clearly later on in this video. But I cannot underestimate the quality of these, and seeing all the Coruscant stuff of the ISB, the action sequences, the hallway scene with K2. It's another batch of 3 phenomenal episodes. And again, I think it's the best way to round out Andor as a TV series, knowing exactly where it goes, and obviously that final shot's a killer. So in 3rd place, this is where I was and ahhing. 3rd place, I put the Aldani arc, which kind of surprised me a little bit as well, because I absolutely love the Aldani arc. And I didn't realise it at the time in 2022. I remember getting to the end of the 3, and I really enjoyed the heist they pull. And I know, ironically, we get a somewhat of a heist in episodes 4 to 6 in Season 2, with Gorma getting the weapons, but it's a little bit different. But the first almost announcement of of the rebels within the Senate, Mothma's reaction, bringing in incredible actors left, right, and centre into this story arc as well. Characters who are going to stick with us. You know, Val comes into this and then she plays a part, Cinta as well. It's got a great cast, and of course, the glue to maybe the entire show, not just Andor, is Nemec. This is where we first meet him, and this is an arc that on the rewatch everything changed for me on this one. I liked it before. I had a lot of fun with it when I first watched it, but when you watch these three together, it's some of the strongest writing, and I think with the current political things going on around the world, not just in certain countries, the words of Nemec are so much heavier, and I think the fact they are played at the end of that season 2 as well, in story, not just for the audience, it is played, by Partagaz, the way he bows out, absolute icon. I love this story arc, and it sits so well, and it follows on and bridges that gap into this is where the show is going to move and become the first win, Luthen, Mothma realising what's going on. I really enjoy these episode arcs. I think it's another one not as many people have spoken about, and again, I understand why, but Aldani, I think, is a little bit... I've said underrated twice now. No one's underrating this show. I've just seen that ridiculous IMDb ratings thing where there's a lot of yellows and oranges with some of the early ones, which I disagree with, but that's ratings all over. So this goes into a final 2, and I'd imagine this is going to be most people's final 2 as well. We have Narkina 5 and the Gorman Massacre. So which one of these is going to be number 1? Which one of these is going to be number 2? And I am going to say, I think these 2 are quite comfortably the best episodes of the entire show, and not that undermines anything that's come before. I think, all those conversations recently about peak Star Wars, I think these are just 2 batches of 3 incredible episodes of TV in a story arc, secluded to themselves as well as being part of a bigger picture. So I'm just giving them both their flowers before I really get into it. And in second place, I've put Narkina 5. I absolutely love this. Everybody loves this. The One Way Out, the return of Andy Serkis to Star Wars in a role that no one knew was happening. The collective, oh my god, Andy Serkis, is that you? Then he comes into the shot. It's amazing, but to do a prison breakout in a Star Wars series, there isn't a generic prison breakout. There isn't a generic prison. There is this horrific, not just fascist regime to it, but for a character to be innocently put in prison for the first place, for being in the wrong place at the wrong time, to seeing how that puts his life and other lives into this scenario. The meeting of Cassian and Melshi is well worth mentioning. The relationship with him and the other inmates too. The constant working until you're going to die in this place. As a concept, I think it's quite terrifying, and I think to put this in a Star Wars show, to put it in writing of the season 1 such as this, to take you away from some of the things going on in the wider picture of the galaxy. Obviously, we spend time with Mothma and Coruscant, we see Bix getting tortured elsewhere, but it's a really interesting 3-episode arc structure. But when you get to the end of episode 9, when you had to wait that 1 week after Andy Serkis says never more than 12, what a moment that was, the collective moment. And I think I've said before, I think that was the episode when the world started realising this show isn't a good Star Wars series, this show is a fantastic prestige drama series. And the way they handled the finale, the heartbreak of the can't swim, ambiguous endings for certain characters, killing off people left, right and centre. We spent time with for 2 episodes, 1 second blink and done, something we get to see a lot more in Andor. I think it's such an incredible, strong batch. And I think there's a reason why it's been spoken about so much. It's why One Way Out's become a huge part of Star Wars Celebration immediately in 2023 and again at 2025. And it's very worthy of being in this. As I said, there's an argument to be made for this to be in first place as well as second, but I've put it in second. And the reason it's in second is because in first place, quite clearly, maybe predictably, we have the Gorman Massacre arc. Episodes 7, 8 and 9 of Season 2. 3 of the most impactful episodes in modern TV. The release of these, the timing of these with everything going on at the moment, the use of media in those, the use of a fascist regime in twisting the truth and setting up things about others, the innocent lives lost in this moment, the horrific atrocities of an empire. It is 3 incredible episodes. And I'm just talking about the first 2 so far of those descriptions. Obviously we went for like over 2 hours on a spoiler discussion on that, and there are so many great podcasts that have done it too. But you cannot take away from this 3-episode arc, because not only do you get the horror of this massacre, you get some of the best performances in both seasons. The close-up of Cassian at the end, the person screaming on the radio, can anybody help us, they're killing us, Cassian's tears in his eyes, setting up the introduction of K2 with his new origin, getting crushed in half. It is incredible. And like I spoke about with the ending of Ferrix, the use of music, the national anthem for Gorma that they released, which you can listen to on Spotify, by the way, to create the fictional language for that. Some of the best Star Wars there's ever been. And then you get the Senate episode. Then you get Mon Mothma getting out. It goes full Jason Bourne. And you've got, of course, Tony Gore involved in Jason Bourne. It feels like that could have been Matt Damon as Cassian Andor. Getting that person out of there, the way it was shot, the way they structured that breakout, everyone having their part to play, Luthen's friends that were actually everywhere all along, Mon and us not knowing is he lying about Bail, is Bail compromised, we don't know, has he got a traitor in his midst. The tension they had for a character we know is going to get out of there is quite remarkable, and to have Mon Mothma, who is almost the secondary character of the entire series, finally meet Cassian in the way she does in those circumstances. It's amazing. It's so well earned. It felt like the season finale to me. That's where I felt like season 2 ended, which is kind of why the Rogue -1 acts a little bit further down in my ranking, because then it does go fully into the Rogue One, which it absolutely needs to do, as I've said. But this felt special, and watching these 3 episodes, the things I've seen online from people, how they've deciphered it, how they've been read into it, I think it's something that lives long in the memory and will do. There will be 3 episodes spoken about for an incredibly long time. I don't say this lightly. I think of things like Ozymandias from Breaking Bad, and this is going to be the sort of episode that is on a pedestal with them. You look at Battle of the Bastards in Game of Thrones, some of the highest regarded episodes of all time that we've lived through, that we've seen being broadcast. I think these will stand the test of times, and when we look at Andor as a show, when it hopefully sweeps the Emmys later this year, it is going to be episodes 8 and 9 that they submit on all those technical achievements. It's going to be 8 and 9 they're submitting for the performances, for the writing, and I cannot wait to see what it does. And those episodes compensate that second season. You build up to Gorma. In story, it's been 2 years of build up from Krennic first having them in the discussion in the mountains to the plan in place to where it ends. It's incredible. I can't add much more than that. It's a ranking video, not a spoiler review, so that's my fantastic way to plug the spoiler review for that. So if you want my recap, 8th place I've got the wedding arc from season 2 episodes 1 to 3. 7th place the Gorman introduction season 2 episodes 4 to 6. 6th place I've got the Ferrix introduction season 1 episodes 1 to 3. 5th place I've got the Ferrix season finale, that's season 1 episodes 11 and 12. 4th place I've got Rogue -1 season 2 episodes 10 to 12. 3 I've got Aldani, which is season 1 episodes 4 to 6. 2nd place Narkina 5, which is season 1 episodes 8 to 10. And in 1st place the Gorman Massacre season 2 episodes 7 to 9. That is my ranking video, and that is how we're going to be rounding out Andor coverage on the channel. If we get the chance to talk about it in the future, we absolutely will. I'm aiming to be at Star Wars Celebration 2027. That's not saying there won't be a Star Wars thing. There is other things in the pipeline. Do check out our spoiler discussions if you're curious. Do check out our Rogue One video. I'm excited to see what people think of this. I'm excited to see what people's rankings are, so please do comment and get involved. That is going to be it from me today. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.